Well, hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This video marks the first of a series of videos, probably about 10 to 12, where I'll be talking about the tools that I use to permanently abate my anxiety symptoms. Today is actually a tool. I know the video is called What is Anxiety, but that is one of the tools that helped me because when I was first going through it, I had no idea what was happening to me, and by understanding what was actually happening, I was more able to logically make sense of things. And then I guess that created a foundation for me to work up towards during my recovery phase. But the first thing I wanted to mention, guys, just so that we're all on the same page, is I want to talk about my two goals. And my two biggest goals in all this are two global perspective shifts. The first one deals with lifting the taboo that I guess is associated with anxiety. I think we've come a long way in the past 5 to 10 years, but I think there is still a bit of a way to go. And what I would love to see, and in hoping that my book and my videos and my blogs shed some light on what this is, I would love to see people talking about anxiety in a similar way or in a similar fashion than they do with worrying, unease, discomfort, work, going out, people they're dating, music they're playing, things they're into. It should just be like another part of life. Because it's so common, in fact, what I'll be talking about today is just how common it is, which you will soon find out. Everyone has it. So because everyone has it, we should all be free to talk about it. And I don't feel like we're quite there yet. My friends and my family were fantastic in helping me dealing with my personal issues. But I feel like there are a lot of people out there that may not be quite so lucky. So I hope this helps those. The second one, guys, is the actual fact that anxiety can be cured. So it is not something that just has to be managed. And once you get it, you've got it for life, and it's a disorder, it's a mental illness and all this sort of bullshit. It's something that is very easily curable. And that's quite exciting. So that's what I hope to bring about to the world, guys, that anxiety is something that's very curable. It's not just manageable. And also, I want to lift the taboo in that we should all be open to talk about it, because we all go through periods of shit house times, and it's fine. That's totally cool. That's what it's all about, being human. You can't possibly understand how good your life is without understanding how shit it can get. So hopefully we can all come together and understand that sort of stuff. Guys, I wanted to talk to you, and I want to talk to you about what anxiety actually is. But to do that, I wanted to just read out a quick part from my book first. So this is in the preface of the memoir. There is no difference between being anxious and being worried. Why is it okay to worry about something and not okay to be anxious about something else? I believe the reason is because worrying is perceived to only last a little while. However, when you say you're anxious for good. In any case, worrying just sounds nicer, doesn't it? Mate, you're just freaking out. You're just worried. You'll be fine. How much better is that than, Tom, you have anxiety. You have to go to talk to someone. This can get really bad. You don't want to get depression, do you? Because then you'll be really fucked. Anxiety at its heart of hearts is an emotion. When I hear people talk about it, I find it funny when they say, oh, he's got anxiety, or she's suffering from anxiety. She's not in a good way. To me, this doesn't make any sense. You can't buy anxiety from a shop, have it screw your life around, and then leave it somewhere with all things return to normal. Anxiety, like anger or sadness, is something you feel. It's an emotion, and sometimes it can get extremely overwhelming and powerful. Other times, not so much. It has the power to question your deepest values and can make you think you're going insane, just like anger has the power to get you enraged and turn on people. So what is anxiety? Guys, anxiety is an emotion. It's an evolved sense. It is something that we have evolved to tap into when we have perceived danger around us or rational danger around us. And it was very important back in the day, the caveman era, I guess, when we were constantly in a state of danger, when we had to fend for ourselves. We often didn't have roofs over our head, and there were wild boars around us and tigers and lions and things in the forest, and our life expectancy was a lot less. So we evolved to have anxiety because we needed it to survive. We really did, and we still do now to a lesser extent. There are still people that live in sort of war-torn areas, and on that premise, it is assumed that they have higher levels of anxiety because they need that that constant fight or flight response, that analytical, sense to keep him out of danger. But I wanted to give you guys a quick scenario to really talk about how anxiety has evolved with us. So there's a caveman, his name's Bob. He's a pretty good bloke. He's up and about with the ladies. He's a pretty confident dude. And he's walking in the forest, and he stumbles across a cave in the forest, okay? He's really hungry. His tribe and his wife and his kids, they haven't eaten for a week or so. So he's thinking about walking to the cave because he's not sure if there could be a bit of food in there. But he starts to get a bit anxious. He starts to get a couple of what if thoughts. What if there's a bear in there? What if there's a tiger in there? What if I die? What if I get hurt? And from those thoughts, his anxiety, this reactive emotion kicks in and causes these physical sensations. And I guess a lot of us can empathize with the physical sensations that Bob is going through. It's a tight chest feeling, it's a racing heart, sweaty palms, all that sort of stuff. The biggest one for me, guys, just by the way, was my tightness in my chest. I'd often feel that. Those physical sensations in turn cause the amygdala in the brain, responsible for the perception of emotion. So that's where the anxiety sparks, to think that you're in danger. So all those fight or flight symptoms, and your mind starts going, okay, now I am in danger. So there are more intrusive thoughts, and I guess what I'm talking about here, guys, is that spiraling notion that a lot of us are familiar with, that spiraling of physical sensations and intrusive thoughts that lead to more and more and more, and basically you fall into a state of panic. So Bob is going through all this, right? He's not sure about whether he should walk into the cave. And just as he's thinking about doing it, he has a panic attack. So he's in full fight or flight mode. So he walks away. Okay? He goes away. He finds some other food source. He has more children. They have children. They have children. They have children. There's another caveman, Jeff. He's walking along. He finds this big cave in the woods. Same cave. He doesn't really have much anxiety. So he walks into the cave, gets eaten by a bear. Poor bastard. He was never a good bloke anyway, but it's sad to see him go. His genes stop with his death in the cave, obviously. Bob, on the other hand, repopulates. His kids repopulate. They have kids. So this genetic predisposition to anxiety is kept on through the family line until what you see today, which is 7.5 billion people or 7 billion people, I'm not sure what the exact numbers are, all of us that are predisposed to anxiety, okay? Now, like I said before, anxiety is a very important thing. We needed it to stay alive. It was almost paramount, I guess. But now, not so much. So we live in much more privileged states. I've got a roof over my head. I'm talking through a camera, which is fantastic. I just ate some food, had some Vegemite on toast. And there's no real need for this constant analysis of budding danger. We still have danger in our lives. A lot of us have fears of sharks. A lot of us have fears of heights to a certain extent, because when you get that high or when you get into a situation when there are sharks around you, you need to be aware. So it's good to be anxious. And you guys are aware of this, because when you perceive your fear as rational fear, you don't get alarmed by it. You don't get scared by it. You're very sure what's going on. The issue with anxiety, and the issue that is present with 100% of sufferers, myself included, not anymore, but myself when I had it, is when anxiety becomes irrational. When you start to fear, or when you start to fear things that don't normally come to fruition. So as you all know now, my fears were related to death, mental illness, sexuality. I had things about having to pick up rubbish and OCD, all that sort of stuff. And though none of those situations ever really happen. So if you're in a shark tank and there's a shark there, he could very well eat you, okay? Or she could very well eat you. So I have to get the fuck out. But with things like becoming possessed by a demon or going to hell and burning for eternity, these are things that just wouldn't come about, at least while I'm living anyway. I don't know what happens when you die, but all that sort of stuff. So you have to sort of understand when the fear is present for a reason and when the fear is, I guess, ridiculous, not there for a reason. And with most anxiety sufferers, or I guess with the anxiety sufferers that are present with disorders, the fear is irrational. So what I'd like you to do now is go home or wherever you are. You can write down 5 to 10 fears that you may have, or things that you normally get scared of. and categorizing them based on their rationality or their irrationality. And when I did this, guys, I actually got this as an example from an online forum, and it really helped. It really shed some light on just how irrational my fears were. And by way of looking at anxiety from a logical standpoint, I was able to set the tone to move forward in my recovery phase. It really helped a lot. So guys, quick recap. What is anxiety? Anxiety is an evolved sense. It is emotion that we've used throughout the thousands and thousands of years of development. We've needed it. It has now become something that is more or less irrational and not as necessary as it was in the modern era. And a really good way to practice and I guess see where your anxiety is based, or where your fears, your worries, your stresses, your uneases are based, is by categorizing them based on their rationality or their irrationality. Okay, and again, irrational based fears can be things like meeting new people on the street, walking outside of the house, public speaking, things like that, okay? Rational fears are getting eaten by a shark, falling off a building when you're actually up on that building, or when you're in a shark tank. Just having a fear of constantly getting eaten by a shark when you're in bed, when you're actually not in danger, is fear of fear, and that's obviously something you need to address as well. But when you're actually in a dangerous situation, that is rational based fear. So I hope that helps, guys. Stay tuned for the next video when I talk about how your understanding of what anxiety is can specifically help you, and then we're going to really kick things off into more tools, which I'll talk about: diary writing, gratitude writing, meditation, distraction, all these other things I've got. So stick around, guys. I'm loving this process. If you have any feedback for me, please email me at thomas.advfradio@gmail.com. I really want to hear your feedback. I really want to hear your thoughts. Like and subscribe, all the good stuff, guys, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.